Am I the a-hole for leaving when I was asked to babysit, forcing my dad's fiancée to cancel her plans? I 17M lived with my mom until a year ago when her disability got to the point where she was placed in a care home that's like a hospice. My dad wasn't ever a big presence in my life, and he's still not. I live there, but I need to be self-sufficient, and I pay for my own crap or have help from my maternal grandparents to pay for it. It's all kinds of messed up, but he was always that way. His reason for having me here is no child support because he had to pay for 16 years before that. My grandparents even promised they wouldn't ask for child support, but he was like no, and he was smug about him being my dad, and he'd win over them anyway. My dad's engaged to some woman who has a 3-year-old with someone else and a 6-month-old with my dad. I moved in around the same time her and her kid did, and she was pregnant then. I don't know much about her, and I don't spend time around her or the kids. Last Saturday, I had a day off work, and I wasn't planning on doing anything when Dad and her said I needed to babysit the kids because they had stuff on. Dad left first, and she told me she'd be gone for about 6 hours, and she was trying to tell me schedule stuff for the 6-month-old and the 3-year-old, but I just said no way, and I left the house. I didn't have anything planned, but I was not willing to babysit, and I dipped before she could leave. She tried yelling after me, but I kept going, and I didn't go back to the house until it was late. Dad was back by then, and the two of them started yelling at me and saying I had no right to walk out and leave the kids without a sitter. I pointed out their mom was home, and they said it wasn't the point, but I said it was the point, and I did not want to babysit, and I did not have to babysit. I told them I won't ever babysit, so they better find someone for when they need it because it won't be me, and I will leave every single time. She was trying to guilt trip me about canceling her plans, and I asked her why it was my problem that she didn't prepare a sitter for her kids before her plans. She even got her sister, who I don't think I met before, come over and tell me I was a crappy person, and I took my daddy issues out on her sister and her nibblings. I rolled my eyes, packed my crap, and I left after that. I'm hoping he doesn't try taking this to custody court, and if he does, I hope he gets a date after I turn 18, and it's a waste of time. Am I the a-hole? Asking because I know she didn't do crap to me and she might have appreciated it or something I don't know. Not the a-hole. This is why your dad wanted you at home instead of your grandparents. They wanted a built-in babysitter. They are takers and users. Since you're out already, never go back, never give in. Sorry you're going through this. Not the a-hole. Tell them that if they try to leave the kids with you against your will, you will call the police and CPS and declare the kids have been abandoned by them. Leaving kids with an unwilling sitter is considered abandonment by law. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my no-contact sister that part of growing and being a better person is accepting that people don't have to forgive and reconcile with you? Growing up, my sister, now 22F, was the spoiled golden child of our parents. She got everything she ever wanted in life and became the brat nobody wanted their kids to be friends with. I, now 24F, even had friends who weren't allowed to come to my house because my sister was there. She would steal, try to make you do what she wanted, and would tell our parents if you didn't, would break stuff if she wasn't included, and then wasn't allowed to take over decision-making. It was a whole thing. We fought a lot as kids, and we both said awful things to each other. But I grew to resent her more and more because of the monster our parents created. The final straw for me was my savings. My parents wouldn't let me open up a bank account because they didn't want me hiding money. They forced my first job to fire me because they were not okay with me keeping money to myself. And I knew they wouldn't help me with college or let me stay rent-free once I was 18. So I started being sneaky about saving. I babysat for friends' parents under the guise of visiting friends. I did errands for family, friends, or other people. It didn't allow me much in the way of savings, but it allowed me some. But then, like 2 days before my 18th birthday, my sister found and stole the money. And yes, I had it at home, but there was nowhere else to take it. None of my friends' parents were okay with me storing it at their house in case any went missing, and I accused them. They were fine helping me get money, but they didn't want the responsibility of storing it, which I understand. My sister even told our parents I had the money, and they got so mad at me. In return, I told my sister to F off and never speak to me again, and from that day onward, she wasn't my sister, and I didn't love or give a damn about what would happen to her. I left on my birthday and never went back. I was no contact from then until now. My sister reached out to me a few weeks ago because a relative gave her my number. She apologized, told me she was sorry, said she had grown up and realized how crappy she was, and she knew stealing, breaking stuff, getting me into trouble intentionally, and trying to control everything was wrong. She said she loved and missed me and was hoping we could repair our relationship. I didn't reply. I read the text and I kept it on my phone, but I didn't reply. 2 weeks later, she texted the exact same thing with an apology if I got the first, but she wanted to be sure. Then a few days ago, she texted again and said she knew it was my number and wanted to know why I ignored her when she had apologized and was hoping I'd forgive her so we could have a relationship. I replied one time and I considered not doing this, and I told her that part of growing is accepting people don't have to forgive you or reconcile with you just because you apologized, and that sometimes the harm done can't be undone and doors are closed forever. I didn't reply after that. Then the relative who gave her my number and I exchanged some words because of this, and she told me it was the most arrogant way to tell someone you don't accept their apology. She said I should have been more accepting. And I told her that I didn't need to listen to this. Am I the a-hole for it though? I'm not doubting myself, but I wonder if there are others who feel the same way as the relative. Honestly, maybe I should have kept ignoring my sister and blocked her number. Not the a-hole if your sister cannot understand your reply, then she still needs more growth. Makes me wonder exactly what she told the relative, because it sounds like another example of her not getting her way, then tattling to force you to give her what she wants, same controlling behavior from childhood. If you don't want to hear from your sister again, I'd suggest blocking her, then pre-block her on socials to shut down all access options. As for that relative who gave out your number without asking you first, they definitely deserve the blocking treatment. Not the a-hole, it's great when someone can grow and better themselves. But sometimes apologies just aren't enough. Getting better doesn't erase the past, and sometimes too much damage is done for one party to want to revisit the relationship. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my cheating ex-husband I will never feel bad for him and I will never help him make this better? I, 46F, was married to my ex-husband John, 48 meters, a decade when I found out he had cheated multiple times with multiple women, one of whom became a fully fledged affair. We had 3 young kids at the time. How I found out was I started suffering some concerning symptoms, went to the doctor and some tests were ran, and it was discovered I had gonorrhea, which had caused pelvic inflammatory disorder. The whole thing was devastating, and John didn't even pretend he was concerned about me, but he was concerned about his affair partner, Kathy. The two of them married after the divorce, and I had to pick up the pieces, deal with the consequences of John's cheating and his lasting gift, and help my kids deal with the divorce. All while I had to be civil in front of the kids, which killed me. I had minimal contact with John and Kathy. I refused to speak to either unless I had to. A few times they attempted additional contact with the aim of us being friends, but I shot that down and I told the two of them to rot in hell. The kids had a good relationship with their dad until a few years ago. But John and Kathy were unable to have children together. I believe she had miscarriages and stillbirths, and my kids felt there was pressure on them to gather around them and love Kathy, so she'd still feel like a mother, but none of them had a close relationship with her, and they felt like their dad was manipulative about it. So they started going to his house less and faded away. My youngest graduated in May and didn't invite John or Kathy. There were discussions about it, but ultimately he decided he would prefer to focus on his achievement and not the drama. John attempted to get me to force my youngest hand, and he tried to throw a pity party about their losses and Kathy's love for the kids and her losing the chance to be a mother. I blocked him after several text messages about this. Now I've had him at my house trying to make me feel bad for him and Kathy by talking about all the losses and asking me to help him make this better. Which to him means he wants the kids back in his and Kathy's lives, and for me to encourage them to love both of them and to let them, but especially Kathy, feel like she won't miss out on all the motherly experiences. He wanted me to treat her like their other mother and present as a team so that when weddings and babies come along, she'll be included and equal in all of it. I had no patience for his request, and even though he was already upset talking about the losses, I was not kind when I told him to get away from my house and from me. I told him I will never feel bad for him and that his pity party and attempt to make me responsible for their happiness after the way he treated me was outrageous. I told him he caused all of this and he can fix it, but he doesn't deserve a single ounce of kindness or compassion from me after his actions in our marriage. He tried to argue, but I closed my front door and he left after that. I was on good terms with John's sister after everything went down, but once she heard about our interaction at my house, she turned on me. She told me she understands me hating them, but John has been broken up about all the losses they have endured, and I could have been a little kinder. And that I should want my kids to have John and Kathy in their lives. That I should be able to see it would be better for them and future grandkids. I told her I owed the two of them nothing and did not wish for their happiness. She told me I had proven to be spiteful and hurt her brother when our divorce happened more than a decade ago now, and it's truly in the past. I'm disappointed that relationship broke down, but feel like it was possibly naive to think it would always survive what happened because John's her brother first. I do value her opinion, or did before this. I disagree with what she said, but I also feel like I shouldn't dismiss it without seeking others' opinions when I have always valued what she says before. Even though I believe this is just a loyalty thing at the end of it all. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. He just wants you to fix his failings because he can't be bothered to do it himself. You're not his wife, so that's not your problem. And tell Sissy to F off. You don't owe either of them a damn thing. Scientifically speaking, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if your cheating ex gave his affair partner and now wife an STD and pelvic inflammations too, isn't he very possibly responsible for the miscarriages she has had? I thought there was a link between STDs, pelvic inflammations, and fertility? If there is and he caused the infection, it is his fault that she cannot have children. Opie replies, it's possible and also extremely likely. I was unable to have more children after he was done with me. Next story. Am I the a-hole? My cell kept bringing up the statistics of men leaving their sick wives, and this is how I responded. IF have been struggling with a medical condition without revealing too much info for over 2 months. My husband M is my primary caregiver. He wakes up 5 a.m., cleans up, prepares breakfast, then lunch for later, then he goes to work, then he gets off work and immediately comes home, cooks dinner, gets more stuff done around the house and repeat. He does most of the work around and outside the house, plus he is the breadwinner. My still brother's wife kept talking about how men leave their wives when they get sick. She'd comment things like, have you noticed any changes in his behavior? Or, when was the last time you searched his phone? Basically implying that my husband is one of those men even though she knows and she saw how much effort he makes to help out and support me. She'd even bring up statistics. She did it once in front of my husband, to which he responded with silence, but she kept staring at him as if she was waiting for him to react. I told her that this made me and my husband uncomfortable and that she needed to stop. Days ago, my husband was working late and couldn't prepare dinner. I can't cook for medical reasons. My brother and Sil was visiting, so I ordered takeout. Sil kept making passive comments implying that my husband was probably starting to get tired of taking care of me. I couldn't take it anymore, especially after she brought up the statistics again. I snapped and told her that since she was at it, then she should check the statistics of men who leave their wives for not being able to get pregnant. She went pale and my brother blew up at me asking what was wrong with me. She began crying, then went outside. My brother started a huge argument saying I was a monster for saying such a terrible thing to someone who cannot have children. He even had my husband leave work and come home. I couldn't argue much because I felt nauseous. They left eventually and got the rest of the family involved. My brother, Sil, and her mother are wanting an apology. My mom and my husband said I shouldn't have escalated the situation. I understand that infertility is hard on her, but I feel like she was being deliberately hurtful to me. So now I want to know if I'm at fault here? Info: why is your Sil at your home so frequently? Not to help obviously, as they were there and you ordered takeout. Flat out tell them to stay home as she seemingly only wants to get a rise out of you. Opie replies, she and my brother live in the same city. My brother is the only one in my family who lives nearby. The rest of them live hours away. He and his wife visit me regularly, but Sil more often. I have to say that apart from this conflict, Sil and I get along. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad's affair partner wife that I don't care about her and her kids' needs and well-being? 2 years ago, my mom found out dad was cheating on her and he moved in with his affair partner and her kids. Both dad and the affair partner, Martha, were married. Martha has 2 young kids with her ex-husband supposedly, and dad has me 16F and my brothers 20, 22, and 25. My brothers refused to have anything more to do with dad after the affair. But because I was 14, I didn't get the choice. My parents' divorce took over a year, and my dad and Martha have been married for a little under a year already. Martha's ex-husband doesn't want anything to do with their kids. So they're with Martha and dad all the time. I do what I can to be outside the house when it's dad's parenting time. He notices and complains, but I told him I'm not playing happy family with his affair partner wife. Dad tells me not to call Martha that, and Martha has yelled at me in the past few months for using that term because she's afraid her kids will hear. I told them I don't care and I don't have respect for them. I tell Dad all the time he let me down and he destroyed our family and hurt us all. He says it shouldn't hurt me and my brothers and that he doesn't care if he hurts Mom because she's so boring that nobody should be stuck with her. I always tell him I can't wait for Martha to cheat on him. My dad has to pay a certain percentage of all activities I'm a part of. Martha feels like it's unfair because I do so many and it takes money from their household, so she told me I need to do one or two things and not all the things because her kids have needs and so does she, and their well-being needs to be maintained. I told her I don't care about their needs or well-being because they're not my problem. She said you're supposed to care about how your family is doing, and I told her the affair partner wife of my cheating father will never be my real family and she could be homeless on the street for all I care. Dad told me I have no right to talk that way to anyone, and Martha has tried to be nice to me, but I won't even be civil with him. I told him if he wants a civil household, he should let go of his parenting time. I told him I'm done at 18 regardless, but he's the one punishing Martha's kids and Martha by forcing me to be here. He told me it doesn't give me the right to say I don't care about the well-being of a mom with 2 young kids. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It always amazes me that parents can be this dumb. Opie replies, OMG, I know. He's only delaying the inevitable. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel. Our posts.